Hey guys, today we're here to talk about graphic organizers and how they can help make your writing easier. Sometimes writing can feel like this. You're lost in a fog and you can't see the forest for the trees. Everything is a mess. You have so many ideas and you just can't make sense of them. Or maybe writing feels like this.
Alright guys, today we're trying to drill a hole to install already.
Like you're just trying to drill a hole in a rock and not getting anywhere. I don't know why this crazy guy is trying to drill a hole in a rock, but apparently this is his idea of fun. So if you're feeling like you have no idea what to say, you can't get your ideas going, or you have so many ideas that you just can't sort them out and get them clear, a graphic organizer can help you. So first, let's talk about what a graphic organizer is not. A graphic organizer is not a traditional outline like this. You may have been taught how to do this kind of traditional outline where you have Roman numerals and letters and numbers, and everything is like very carefully planned out and thought out ahead of time. And this is really hard to do. I cannot make an outline like this. Sometimes I can go back and do one after I've drafted. That's called a reverse outline. And I'm going to share a video with how to make a reverse outline in this week's work. But this is really hard to do ahead of time unless you know exactly what you want to say. And most of us don't know exactly what we want to say until we've started saying it. Now, some teachers are going to ask you to do this kind of an outline. Some teachers may require it. So you're probably going to have to work with it at some point. But a graphic organizer can be, I think, easier to work with and more flexible for a lot of students. It doesn't lock you into this kind of really strict structure. Okay, so what is a graphic organizer? Some of you have already seen it. A graphic organizer is this. It's boxes on a page, where each box is a paragraph, and in each box you make some notes about what it is you want to say. Now, before you start your graphic organizer, you have to have all your pieces in place. You need to have your connections chart. You need to have your annotations. You need to have the readings, maybe other notes that you've made, the discussion boards. You need to have all the pieces in place. And then as you make your graphic organizer, it's kind of like you're taking those pieces and you're sorting them into boxes, right? Like if you had different color Legos, you would sort them into boxes. And you put all the blue ones in one box and all the red ones in another box. A graphic organizer can be kind of like that. So we'll come back and look at the introduction example in just a minute. I'm going to go straight to the body paragraph. So here's an example of how you could use a graphic organizer to plan out a body paragraph. Here I have the main idea of the paragraph, also called a topic sentence. And I put, the rule that men should not show feelings is bad for them. Now, I didn't say that in a perfect or beautiful way. It's a graphic organizer. It's not meant to be perfect or beautiful. You're not trying to get the words right. You're just trying to get the ideas out. And then I have a quote that goes with that. Men feel pressured to not show their feelings, and so they become violent to themselves and others. And then I have some points that I want to make in my discussion. Parents, friends, and media tell men that feelings are soft. They're pressured to hide their feelings. Feelings like hurt, grief, or fear don't stay hidden. These feelings come back as violence or other toxic behaviors. Some men and women want men to be tough and unemotional. It may seem like strength or a good quality. So now I planned out all those ideas. I sketched them out. I'm going to do that for my whole essay and start just making notes. Once I've done it, I can come back and look at how my ideas fit or don't fit, or how one idea can transition to another. So looking at my notes here, I can see parents, friends, media tell men that feelings are soft. Men feel pressured to hide their feelings. That's kind of repetitive. I probably don't need to say that twice. So I can come over here and I'm going to get rid of that. I'm not going to need that in my final version of this paragraph. I don't need to say it that many times. Okay, this makes sense. This makes sense. Here, some men and women want men to be tough and unemotional. It may seem like strength or a good quality. That could be a whole nother paragraph. I'm going to take that out. It doesn't fit with this idea. It's on the same topic, kind of, but really I could write a whole nother paragraph about that. That's too much to squeeze in here. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to delete it from here, and I'm going to drop it down to a different paragraph because I want to give that its own paragraph. And then I'm going to think about a quote that can go with it and how I might discuss that. And then the other thing I'm going to notice as I come back and look at my planning here and what I'm thinking about is I have this idea that for some men, these feelings come back as violence or other toxic behaviors. I have this idea that of things being toxic. We have a video about toxic masculinity. I'm going to drop that toxic idea right down here, carry those words through, and pick up on this idea of toxic masculinity. I'm going to get a quote maybe from the video, and I'm going to plan out my discussion there. So I hope that helps you see how you could use a graphic organizer for planning your essay. Now, this looked really easy because I've been a writer for a really long time. I've been writing for longer than most of you have been alive and teaching writing for longer than most of you have been alive. And I've been thinking about this topic for many, many years. So it's really easy for me to pop ideas out. The first time you make a graphic organizer, it's not necessarily going to be that clean and simple for you to use. That doesn't mean you shouldn't use it. Keep trying, keep working with it. Okay, I'm going to show you one more way that you can use a graphic organizer to revise your essay. If you are the type of person, and I am the type of person, who starts just by writing and getting ideas out, and you write a big, messy, wonderful, beautiful draft, that's great. I've even told a lot of you, don't try to stay on topic in your draft. Just let it go. Go off topic and let your ideas flow, which is great, but it does result in a mess. So I'm going to show you a paragraph here that's kind of messy. It's from a sample student essay, and we're going to take it apart with a graphic organizer. So this student wrote, "It is pretty commonly known that being manly does not involve caring about the well-being of other men, and it is especially not manly to express emotions according to those unwritten rules that have been set for them. To truly begin the movement to stop toxic masculinity, it would take someone who cares about the mental well-being of future generations and someone who is not afraid to put emotion into the movement. The main reason the women's movements have been able to be acknowledged is because women made sure to have the uncomfortable talks and express their feelings, making it an accepting space for everyone to bring their own experiences to the conversation. In Boys Won't Be Boys by Ben Hurst, he mentions the idea that men in general are not great at talking, particularly when it comes to the topic of masculinity. What Hurst is saying is that men, rather than avoid any problems than having to talk about it, even though men in general are all dealing with the same issue. The fact that men avoid difficult conversations does stem from childhood. For many people, young boys are always told what is wrong and right and rarely explained in detail why these things are inappropriate. And so they are very used to unexplained control over them, much like the power masculinity holds over them. And since they do not educate themselves on what is truly happening, they continue to pass the same pattern along because they do not understand life any other way." I'm confused. I don't know if you're confused. I'm confused. I found that paragraph confusing because it's kind of all over the place, which is okay because, you know, you're still working. So I came over here and I popped it into a graphic organizer. I took her topic sentence. "It is pretty commonly known that being manly does not involve caring about the well-being of other men." And then I have a quote, and then I broke out all of those different points she made into bullet points so I can kind of see them. I can take it all apart. Like when you're writing, you get lost in a flow and you need to take it apart to see the pieces. So I can see that in her topic sentence, she's saying something about being caring and not expressing emotions. But her quote is about whether or not men talk about masculinity, and most of her details are about whether or not men talk about masculinity. So the problem here is that this topic sentence about caring about the well-being of other men doesn't really fit with the rest of the paragraph, which is about talking about the question of masculinity. I would also be able to go back and take out some of the extra words that are there and generally clean things up. But when taking a paragraph apart and breaking it down into its component pieces like this, you can see a little more easily and clearly what fits and what doesn't fit. I hope that's helpful. Give a graphic organizer a try. You can Google it, find lots of graphic organizers out there. It's not going to be easy, but it is a really helpful tool. So give it a try, work with it, and stay motivated. Remember that as you're trying this new stuff out, you are growing as a writer and you are getting better as a writer and you are getting ready to reach those goals. You are getting closer to reaching those goals that you are here in college to achieve. All right, I look forward to reading your work, guys. Have a good week.